like you had written the story, actually.
I vaguely remember it. Does Last Night sound familiar? Jan Josef? Düsseldorf?
Do you trust him? I mean, he could read something completely different.
The finest experience that I ever have is standing on stage, listening to him reading in German while I'm following in English. It's probably the most expensive way to learn German. Man, is it fun!
Okay, so we talk in German now, right? Wir können jetzt in Deutsch reden, weil er hat ja gesagt, dass er jedes Mal, wenn er ihm zuhört, am besten in Deutsch lernt. Ja? In German?
What we would do, Marion, is you will ask the questions first in German so that everyone gets what we're talking about, and then ask me in English in case I'm not getting it. Okay? Thank you.
Was it also just fun to write the story, or was it sometimes hard work? Also ich frage ihn, hat es auch wirklich Spaß gemacht, die Geschichte zu schreiben, aber war es wirklich manchmal auch wirklich harte Arbeit?
One of the reasons I have so many enemies is because purely I have fun in life. Look at me, you know, this is great. It is hard work to write, as any writer. Everyone in here has written something, we all know that. But it is my life, and it's what I do. So this one was really a pleasure to write, not simply because of the richness of this material, but because it's my first I narrative since Grün ist die Hoffnung. And it just lit me up to have a first-person narrator. The hardest part, I think, was the intimate research of sex, which was very, very hard on Frau Boyle.
Okay, wie war es für dich? War es für dich harte Arbeit oder war es nur Spaß?
Das Hörbuch einzulesen war großartig. Also es ist ja so, macht einen großen Unterschied, jeder weiß das bestimmt. There is a big difference. You sit at home and you read silently for yourself. You know, this is one thing, and it's very secluded in a way. And reading out loud is a big difference. Actually, what I remember from the recording sessions was that they very often pushed the microphone talkback button to just let me know that they laugh and that they are having fun up there in the Reggie room. And this was pretty good, so I had sort of an audience. And also it was very funny because we were all grown-up people, and we had some serious, severe discussions on topics like what is the accentuation, the right accentuation for clitoris? Is it clitoris or is it clitoris? And actually, I don't know. We were calling doctors. We were opening, thesaurus and all this stuff, to really find out, and nobody could tell it. Nobody could really tell us. So in the end, we agreed to say clitoris, and I wonder if that's right. Is this in Ordnung? Kann man das? Okay.
Give it to us in German, please, Jan Josef.
Clitoris.
Oh, really?
No. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is the universal name. But you want to hear the German?
Yes. What did you decide on? What was your pronunciation?
I don't know it. Does any one of you know what clitoris will be in German?
You know it too.
What?
Come on, tell me. I want to use it on Frau Boyle.
Do you want to tell it?
No.
Hitler. Yeah! Well done. I too have recorded audiobooks. You can see how much fun it is to hear the story aloud. I have to commute to Los Angeles from Santa Barbara 39 days a year to teach my classes. And I love books on tape because they help me to get absorbed in another world and help me pass the time. I was comparing notes with Jan Josef, who, of course, does this professionally, and I'm just an amateur. I remember one recording session, the mics are so sensitive that we would have to stop at lunch because they could hear my stomach rumbling because I was hungry. It's quite a great thing. And I love your story about them pressing the talk button because they're laughing. An actor needs an audience, and that's encouraging to know that you're reading and they're digging it. I look through the glass and see their faces, and I can see that they're animated and enjoying it. When they fall asleep, then I stop.
How about the title? The German title is Dr. Sex, the American title is The Inner Circle. Dr. Sex sounds much more sensational. The Inner Circle is more mysterious. So how do you like the German title?
Absolutely. Well, in the audience tonight is my dear friend and brilliant editor, Anna Leuber of Panzer Verlag. And Anna and I have worked together for a long, long time on many, many books, and I trust her. And when she tells me that a title will not work in German, I go with it. For instance, East is East came out around the time of reunification. And Anna said, well, we don't want to have too much East in our title right now, so we will call it Der Samurai von Savannah. Okay, I trust her. I had thought of the title. I had thought of the title, Dr. Sex, myself, and had rejected it for the English version because, as Marion is suggesting, the Inner Circle says a little bit more thematically about the book, because this, as you heard, is about John Milk and the people who worked with Kinsey intimately in his sex researches. And incidentally, one of the joys I have in life is having the same publishers. I have the same publisher in America all my life. I have the same one in Germany and in France. And I know people for many years. They trust me. I trust them. In fact, by the way, speaking of which, I am the only writer in the history of the world who still has the same wife. At any rate, for this book, I asked them to find an archival photo that would be passionate. Nothing overt, no nudity, just a photo from the period of the 40s, perhaps, with a man and a woman in a passionate clinch, and maybe he has his hand on her thigh. And I'm going to hold this up for the people in the back row, and I'm sorry you couldn't hear, I'm going to scream from now on. Just the people with the great eyesight way in the back. Can you see that? Look, see? Look what they gave me. Exactly what I asked for.
Hat ja vorhin schon von dem Film gesprochen, der auch hier läuft, recht erfolgreich läuft. Kinsey, the Compton's movie, came out at the same time, almost the same time like the book. Did it help the book? Hat es dem Buch geholfen, sich zu verkaufen, or the other way around?
Well, there are a number of things happening here. Here's the downside. This is such a rich and delightful story. I could have sold the film rights and become rich. So, that was bad. But on the other hand, my publishers around the world were delighted because it's so rare that you would have a film and a book on the same subject. Yes, this film is not based on the story that I've given. It's nothing I like it at all. But still, Kinsey's name popped up again. You may be aware that we're in a period of repression in America, and that we're dealing with the same sort of thing Kinsey was dealing with, as you can tell from the points which decided the last election in America. And so the book seemed very relevant at the time. It came out in September. Condon's movie came out in November. And the effect of the book was good because even though, by the way, most movie critics prefer the book to the movie, you know, nonetheless, the publicity surrounding it kept the book in front of the public for a good extended period of perhaps 4 months rather than a month or 6 weeks or whatever it would normally be when you put out a book and all the press writes their interviews and then everybody forgets about it.
But I think the movie shows Kinsey in a pretty different way. In your book, he's much darker. He has to control everything, analyzing everything. Sometimes he's even cruel with the people he works with. So, how did you research his psyche? How did you find out how he really was?
Well, after all, I am giving you the historical facts. Everything here is true. This is the way Kinsey was. I've taken all the anecdotes and I've used them to give you the fullness of this material. But nonetheless, when you take a real figure from history and put him into your work, he becomes your creature. And I have no prejudice. I don't start this with a bias against or for Kinsey. I'm just interested in what it would be like to be a sex researcher. What does it mean to us today? And so I let it fly and find out what it's going to be. Bill, on the other hand, had a different agenda. He wanted to make a biopic to show Kinsey in a favorable light and felt obligated to cover this whole scope of his life. I have no such obligation. I'm just an artist trying to pursue something and see where